Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, episode number 201 of Let's Go Racing. Tyler Jones here with you. Happy to have you with us. Dominic Aragon, as well as Matt Kemp in the house. And we are so pleased to be joined by Joseph Wooten of the Steve Miller Band, making his return to the program. We'll have a great conversation with him coming up in just a few moments as we'll catch up with Joseph on everything that's going on with him in his music career, his ties to NASCAR, and more coming up in just a matter of moments. We'll also look back at this weekend's action that was with a exciting win for Ryan Blaney, getting it done in the USA Today 301 there at New Hampshire. We'll also look ahead to this weekend's race at my home track, Kansas Speedway, for the Hollywood Casino 400. Get to our news and notes, and we'll have our mailbag segment coming up at the end of today's show. Dominic joins me right now. Dominic, let's start with it off the top. Blaney getting into victory lane. He's won a championship before. He gets a playoff win here. Certainly adding himself to the conversation if he wasn't there already to be a championship contender here.
Everything comes in threes for Ryan Blaney. It seems like the years that he's been winning, the last 5 years, 3 wins per season. He's now at the 3-win mark. We still have 6 races to go in 2025. And the Team Penske Ford's looking as good as ever, Tyler, there on the flat track of New Hampshire, which races similar to Gateway, races similar to Phoenix, which we will see for the championship race. If Team Penske, which they're looking really, really good with him and Logano and Cindric, can make that championship for, maybe the title runs through Penske like it has in this next-gen era.
Matt, welcome in. We talked about Gibbs the last few weeks, how well that they had been running there at JGR. They had some interesting stuff of their own this past weekend with Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs there. But now we see Ryan Blaney get it done. And as Dominic mentioned, some tracks coming up in this championship that play to their advantage, including the championship race at Phoenix. Do you think Ryan Blaney and maybe that Penske organization could be the ones to be the biggest challenger to Joe Gibbs racing for the title here?
Well, I want to start by saying they definitely had me fooled. I really thought through the first round that Gibbs was about to run away with it, and Penske came out swinging here in the round of 12 to, pretty much put a damper on their hopes again. So if it keeps up the way it's going, Ryan Blaney's going to be the guy to beat.
And then we take a look at the updated playoff picture. Ryan Blaney advances, William Byron, Kyle Larson, each 40-plus points above. Bell, 29. Hamlin, 27. Logano, 24. Chase Elliott, 14 above, 12 above. Looking at the guys that are above the cutoff there, Dominic, seems like Byron and Larson are in good shape, but 2 races to go in this round, and everything else seems pretty much up for grabs. No one feels totally safe there in that top 8 outside of Ryan Blaney, who's advanced.
Well, you have 40 stage points between the next 2 races that are up for grabs, and you bet a lot of these guys are going to try to collect as many of those as they can. I look at somebody, Tyler, like a Denny Hamlin, who we know probably is going to win next week on the road courses. He even says he prefers the roundy rounds, and Charlotte Roval is not going to be that for him. So look for Denny Hamlin probably this weekend to try to collect stage points or that victory, which it wouldn't even matter. But I think stage points are going to be a hot commodity between this week and next week, where you see drivers pushing more for those points just to push out to the round of 8.
And then looking at the 4 drivers that are on the outside right now, Matt, Ross Chastain, 12 back, Austin Cindric, 19 back, Tyler Reddick, 23 back, and Bubba Wallace, 27 back. All those guys with some work to do over the next couple of weeks, but it's not insurmountable.
No, for sure. But, like we've talked about the last couple of weeks, anything can happen. But even with those gaps, if they even get maintained, especially with 4 teams that are below the cut line, I see it being pretty hard for them to be able to make it up at the Roval. So one of those 4 better have a very good day at Kansas, or else I think it's sayonara in the round of 8.
Yeah. And, of those 4 that we're talking about that are on the outside, Ross, Cindric, and Reddick all have experience winning on the road. So maybe that's a chance for them to get the victory lane there to potentially push themselves over the top. But you mentioned it, barring a win, it's going to be tough to make up points. We'll see how things work from there. Joseph Wooten making his return to Let's Go Racing this week, Dominic, and this guy, he's been one of our favorites over the years. I got to see him personally in concert a couple of years ago in Dallas with the Steve Miller Band. We hung out there at Dos Equis Pavilion, had a great time, met his lovely wife, and we went back and I had a good time at the hotel afterwards, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that night later on. But Dominic, Joseph Wooten, not just a great musician and artist, but a great dude.
Great dude, great friend of the show. He's someone I've had the pleasure of knowing over the last 12 years. And when we told him we wanted to bring him back on the show a few weeks back, he said, yes, let's do it. So
Really?
the man that needs no introduction, who spent 3+ decades with the Steve Miller Band as the keyboardist for the legendary band, none other than Hall of Fame musician Joseph Wooten. Joseph, thank you so much for joining us this
Oh,
week here on Let's Go
you're
Racing.
welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, 32 years with the Steve Miller Band. How about that?
Does it feel like it was 32 years?
Um, Not until you start counting them up. Like it doesn't feel like 32 right now, but when you start looking at some of the things you've done, you realize it was 32. Like my my kids are 30 and 34, right? My 30-year-old doesn't know life without Steve Miller. And he's about to be a father, so I'm about to be a grandfather
Oh, congrats.
for the first time in November. And not just that, but like I have four brothers, no sisters. Uh, my wife, I'm on my second wife. My second wife has two boys. I've got two boys. Her brother has two boys. She has a cousin with two boys that has a son with two boys. Like there's boys all over the place. And but this is about to be a girl, about to have a granddaughter.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And you know that grandbaby's going to be spoiled.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, but in a good way. In a good way. But back to the question, 32 years, it goes fast. You know, it goes fast, but life goes fast. So,
Yes, indeed. Just like NASCAR cars going fast.
right.
Jo- Joseph, so a couple years ago, I go to your concert, and I got to tell you, I had an incredible time. And it's great to see you there, meet your wife, and all that stuff, and I really enjoyed myself. But I got to tell you, I think, and at the time I'm 29 now. At the time I was 27. I think I was the youngest person in the crowd that night, but I didn't feel like I was some old guy. Like you guys' music still sounds as good as ever and has aged so well. I wish more people my age would give a chance to listen
Well,
to
it's
Steve Miller Band. You guys still have some incredible music that's aged so well, I think.
there's more people your age than you think. A lot of them. So Steve Miller was smart. Most of his hits were in the 70s, except for Abracadabra, which was in 1982. But he did a greatest hits album in the latter part of the 80s, and that's what most people know him from. So that his greatest hits record from the 80s, I'm sorry, really resurrected his music, and it's such a big part of the soundtrack of America. You keep hearing it. Like somebody sent me a clip the other day. The Voice, they opened with the Joker, right? Snoop and Blue Buble and Reba McEntire, they're up there singing the Joker, and the Kia commercial is using "Keep on a Rocking Me, Baby."
Get
So
those residual checks, baby.
absolutely, well, that's Steve is getting those residuals, and it's okay. He wrote them. I'm not mad at him for that. But yeah, the music, even though it was recorded a while back, stays current. And you see at those Steve Miller shows, you see a good deal of families that are there because there are the parents that were old enough to remember when it first came out, and then some of the kids are familiar with it from the greatest hits record, and the fact that it's easier to hear older music now with syndicated radio.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a Spotify user myself. I know most people
Right.
use Spotify or Apple Music, and I remember going back. The you got the Steve Miller page there, and just seeing all these different hits and discovering, with technology now with stuff like Spotify. discovering stuff that maybe I would not have found, or maybe that you guys don't perform at a concert. Like the
Right.
whole catalog just being so accessible. I imagine that's changed everything for a band like you guys, giving you new life of sorts of people just discovering stuff that wasn't as accessible just even a few years ago like that.
Well, that's the truth. I mean, this is a very listener friendly market. Music is. So back when I was younger, if you were an artist, the way that you got music to the people was through records.
Yeah.
You know, you sold physical records, so there was like a revenue stream through selling a physical product. And even though it was unfair, it was trackable. You know what I mean? You do a you do an album, a lot of times the record company would make 97 cents off of that dollar. You know what I mean? I mean, it wasn't really fair, but it was the devil that we knew. Where the record industry messed up because the co money was built in for the record industry when we were selling records. So what happened was digital came in. All of a sudden you could make a record digitally without tape. So where the record industry gambled and messed up when the CD came out, the CD was smaller. You know, I mean, you think about the album days. We loved our albums. There's an album cover, you'd read everything on there. There might even be an insert with another picture of the artist, right? We loved them. But then the CD came out and it was smaller. The print was a lot smaller. You couldn't really enjoy a CD like you could an album. And instead of them passing the savings on to the listener, if you remember, the CD cost almost double the price of an album, right? So now all of a sudden, the record company gambled that the listener would pay whatever we charged them for their music, not knowing that streaming was coming down the pike. And the listener realized they could get the music for free. If you remember, what was it called?
Napster.
Oh, and
Napster.
Napster, LimeWire, all those.
Yes, yes. And that sort of forced the listener. I mean, you can't pay double for music. Here's a way to get it for free. And that let the genie out of the bottle. So the listener the listener doesn't really know about having to pay for music anymore because it's all changed up now. It's a very listener friendly uh era. You know, if you want to hear your favorite song, you don't have to spend any money. You just go to YouTube, type it in, there it is. A few different versions of it. This one has a video, this one has lyrics. You know, you can hear whatever you want. Very good for the listener, tougher for the artist. Tougher for the artist to get paid off of all of those views. So in the old days, you used to get robbed, you know, making 3 cents on the dollar. Now, like I remember I had a song, and when I got my, you know, getting my little royalty statement, there was a song that streamed one time in whatever that foreign country was. But what I was getting paid off of that one stream was I'm sorry, was 0.000, was it 2.0015 or something like that. So it's like if you take a penny and grind it up into 1,000 piles, 15 of those are mine. You know what I
Yeah.
Sounds like what Matt makes driving a race car.
mean?
Less than that, actually.
But it's
Goes the other way.
in terms of music, the way you make money has changed, right? You don't if you're still trying to make money off of the sale of something, that's the old way. It doesn't pay that much. Spotify is great in that lots of people can hear your music, they don't pay much.
Mm.
Well,
Strange.
I guess my question too, the business of this stuff is fascinating because there's a lot of parallels with
Hmm.
motorsports and music. And you hear oftentimes too drivers that are not racing. Well, they're racing in NASCAR, but they're doing weekly races on a weeknight dirt track somewhere. They make more money on their merchandising. Is that same
Right.
principle applying to the musician? Because you often hear about that. You want to support your favorite race car driver, you buy their merchandise. Does that same
Right.
principle apply in music?
Very much so. So an older artist is still trying to sell you their product. They're still trying to sell you their product. A newer artist is trying to sell their stuff that includes the product. Do you see what I mean? You might
Hmm.
use the product to sell the t-shirt, the hat, the coffee mug, uh, the video, the experience. You might try to get an endorsement. uh, uh, Licensing music, like licensing music pays, but and of course live gigs pay. But in terms of, in the old days, what you would get paid for selling the actual product, that has changed a lot. The way you have to make money in the music business has changed. But like anything, I'm sure the guy that used to make money breeding horses wasn't happy when the automobile came around. You know what I mean? Things change and you either adapt or get left behind.
Mhm.
So we mentioned the Steve Miller Band catalog is got so much variety over many years.
Hmm.
When you're on stage, or maybe you're just listening to some music in the car, whatever it may be, Joseph, what are your favorite Steve Miller Band songs that you're jamming out to that come to mind? What are some of your all-time
Well,
favorites?
my favorite Steve Miller Band song, I'm a keyboard player, so my favorite is "Fly Like an Eagle."
Mm,
And I love the groove. Uh, uh, the guy that played the organ on it was just did some incredible work. I loved it when I was a kid. Lo and behold, I grew up and became the guy that was able to play it every night. 32 years worth. It's fun. Lots of fun. Uh, I like Fly Like an Eagle. I like to take the money and run. Um, let's see. Fly Like an Eagle, take the money and run. Jungle Love is always fun to play.
yeah.
Jungle Love it's probably as much fun to watch people enjoying that song as it is to play that song. It's just a fun tune.
Well, you mentioned like we were talking about residuals and stuff getting replayed. This might be the most strange memory I could possibly think of. But when I think of Jungle Love, Joseph, um,
Uh-huh.
as a kid, I was a big fan of the show Everybody Loves Raymond growing up. And in the
Uh-huh.
series finale, they do a montage of the moments of the show over the years, and it's the Jungle Love of all things. And so when I hear that song, I think of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah,
I feel like they used that in the intro too at one point, Tyler. Maybe a one-off episode, but I feel like they used it more than once in that series.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. It's a
Yeah.
fun song, you know.
Yeah.
It really is. All of that Steve Miller music, it's fun music. There's nothing controversial. There's no bad language. It's just stuff that people enjoy listening to. It's really fun to do.
I can tell you too, Tyler, one of my favorite memories of that song, and I think I've shared it on the show before, but for my 19th birthday, my mom and dad got me tickets to go see the Steve Miller Band at the Route 66 Casino Hotel, Legends Theater, just west of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And on
Hmm.
that concert on my birthday in 2013, they opened with Jungle Love, and you heard the iconic drum roll at the beginning. The
Yeah,
guitars are coming in, maybe a few bars, and the
I
curtains are
remember when
just
we were doing
slowly opening, and there's the band playing. It gave me chills down my spine. Then
that.
doing that 12 years later now, that was one of my core memories with that song.
Yeah,
Just
that
yeah,
we went we went through a period. Yeah, we opened with Jungle Love. Yeah, the interesting thing is because I would trigger that sound before Jungle Love starts, and it dawned on me probably after being in the band a couple decades, maybe longer. It dawned on me that sound is very similar to the Daily Double in Jeopardy.
Mm.
oh, it is. Yes.
Every time I hear, every time Like my every time Jeopardy's playing in the house and somebody gets a daily double, it sounds like Jungle Love is getting ready to start.
I never
I'm
thought
going to hear
about
that
that,
going
but yeah.
forward now too.
Never be able
Yeah,
to unhear it.
make,
Yep.
make, jot a little note down, listen to the sound of the daily double. And then, yeah, very, very, very similar.
Oh man, that's good. Joseph, what are you up to these days now? I know that Steve Miller Band is not touring at the moment, but what are some of the things you're doing?
Right. Well, okay. It's been busy. Like I thought I was going to be sitting home. And what I just did, I just got back from Europe. And my wife was working with this non-for-profit charity called Vision Ireland and Foresight. And they're a company that has technology that aids the vision impaired. They said that if they'd had this technology back when Stevie Wonder was young, he'd be able to see now. So they were doing a fundraiser at the House of Lords in Westminster Palace, and they had me sing. So I sang a couple of my songs. That was cool. I was there probably about a week before the president got there.
Hmm.
So that was cool, sang at the House of Lords. Um, I have a benefit coming up in Nashville on October the 16th. It's a benefit for homeless veterans through my wife and I's company, I Matter, You Matter. So we're doing that on October 16th. If anybody wants to donate, it's imatter.com/donate. And that'll help some homeless vets. I'm working on a Christmas album. That's what I was in doing this morning. That's what I was in during all day today, trying to cram out some Christmas music before that. I got a a fall tour with my brothers. We're going to Europe uh, in late October, into early November. But the biggest thing, my wife is part of a team that's helping bring the World Military Games to Charlotte, North Carolina. So the World Military Games, you could think of it like the Olympics of the military, of the world's militaries. It's under the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, and they hold it every 4 years. This is the first time that it will be in the United States. And my wife is working with the company. What's unique about this one is coming to the United States, but it's coming to a company as opposed to it coming to the state. It's coming to a company, so they'll be able to monetize it. Well, the games needed a theme, and I wrote the theme. It's a song called "The Whole World Wins," so that's pretty cool.
Oh,
That'll be in it'll be in it starts on June 25th, 2027 and ends on the 4th of July in 2027. So there's a lot going on, you
you are
know.
busier than ever.
I am. I am. It's yeah, but that's good. You know what I mean? It's only work if you'd rather be doing something else, right? Yeah,
Sure.
I'm doing what I want to do the most. So I'm pretty thankful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And last time you're on the show, and I think it's such a cool story. I'd love to hear your perspective on it. You being in the Nashville area, you had
Hmm.
the opportunity to go to the NASCAR Nashville race a few years back. You got to hang out with NASCAR legends like Bobby Allison, Bill Lester. Share
Yeah.
with us that experience that all came together because, again, really cool story on how that all happened.
Well, I have a cousin who's on the board. He's the only black person on the board. His name is my cousin Larry Woodard. I keep thinking about my cousin Dwayne. Larry Woodard is his name. And so they were going to be in Nashville. He got my wife and I tickets, and we got a chance again to go behind the scenes because it's a total different scene than what I'm usually in. So I got a chance to sit beside Bill Lester, and he was showing me how you they had the little handheld devices and you could listen to the radio transmissions between the tower and the different cars. That was very exciting. Um, it's just exciting. Yeah, I mean, I got a chance. The thing that really, I think the thing that surprised me the most is like you're watching cars go around the track and you know they're going fast. But the closer you get to it is where I really got not, there's a better word than impressed. I got wowed for lack of a better word. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Like you don't real I didn't realize it was going that fast. It was good to it's fun to watch the dedication of people whose it's fun to watch the dedication of people doing a totally different thing. It's a total different thing, but the same amount of dedication. So it's fun to be immersed in it because there's overlap.
Mm-hmm.
It's overlap with dedication to music or dedication to something as simple as going fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to watch. And then yeah, I was able to be, around some of the legends just before he passed away. So that was cool. Was it Bobby Allison? Is he the one that passed away?
Yeah, he passed away last year.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to a Steve Miller Band concert and he wasn't well and he passed away, not too much longer after that, but it was nice to meet him. This is one thing that stuck in my mind is that um, he saw my cousin and he knew that my cousin was still on the board and he was pressing him to change the status of a certain race that he didn't get credit for. I mean, his career was long behind him,
Mm-hmm.
but he was still concerned about the status of this race as if he had just raced it. And that stuck in my mind just because I'm not very competitive. Like I'm dedicated to music, but I'm not very competitive. And to see that level of competition in somebody who was long out of the sport, I mean, as soon as he saw my cousin, he sort of cornered him and started telling him about this race. Remember the date, remember the time, remember that he hadn't got credit for it. And that stuck in my head.
Yeah, the old Bowman Gray race, right, Matt? 1970, if I remember correct. He won. It was a whole different classic cars. There was a whole backstory to it, but nonetheless, NASCAR had said that the race was going to count, then it didn't count. And for all of these years, it did not count as a win on his win total. And that was very important to Bobby, I think, partially because on the NASCAR all-time wins list, it had him in a tie with Darrell Waltrip and was it Cale Yarborough, Matt? I think it was a three-way tie, but NASCAR recognized, they finally recognized that Bowman Gray win
Oh,
maybe a
there you
month
go.
or two before he passed away last year. So Bobby Allison is now undisputed as the fourth driver on the all-time wins list. But maybe cornering your cousin maybe got it to the right channels and the
I
right
saw
people.
that.
It,
I
it worked
saw it
out.
up close. I saw it up close, right in Nashville. My cousin comes in and he cornered him and you know started giving him an earful about this race.
If you're ever wondering, Joseph, if you're ever wondering what's going through the mind of a NASCAR driver, more than likely it's about a race they lost about 20 years ago.
Okay. Well, I have evidence now because I saw it. I saw it up close.
Yeah,
I
gosh,
saw it up
a few
close.
years back, I'll share this real quickly. Kyle Busch was on the heels of his 200th NASCAR victory, and he's at a press conference in Auto Club Speedway in California. And I shoot my hand up to ask him a question, and I asked him, Matt, I said, how many of those 199 wins can you recall? And he like sat there for a second. He goes, man, I pretty much said I remember the ones more that I lost. So yeah, it rings
Yeah.
true for sure.
Yeah, I've heard elite athletes say that before. Serena Williams was one. She said she hates losing more than she loves winning.
Yep.
Which
What a quote.
that's a heck of a quote, but boy, that'd be a tough way to live.
That's
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
Tom Brady says all the time that he would trade multiple Super Bowls for that 16-0 Patriots team to have that one where they lost the Giants.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there was ever an event that it looks like you just destined not to succeed. I mean, the way that they didn't win that Super Bowl, like David Tyree, was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody who arguably wasn't even good enough to be on the team. You know what I mean? But the reason I say that
He
is
got
not
caught
to
that next
denigrate him.
offseason. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I recognize that sounds like I'm denigrating him. But what I mean is, like his next season, nobody picked him up, right? His next season, nobody picked him up. And he's the guy, the most unlikely guy, to go up and make the catch that gives them a chance to go. And then, I mean, everything about that play, Eli Manning, if they run that play 99 more times, he's probably sacked 99 more times, right? And it's just one of those things. One of
Yeah.
those.
I guess my question for you as a musician, is there any parallels there? I mean, as far as maybe a gig that you might remember, oh, I messed up on a keyboard progression there. Is there stuff like that as a musician that you might dwell on, like how a race car driver might dwell on losing a race?
Um, Music is different. Music is different than competition. Music, when it's right, is the opposite of competition. Music is that everybody wins. Competition is I win at your expense. Do you see what I mean? So with music, if it doesn't go the way you wanted it to go, you turn it into something good. If you make it a mistake, you turn it into something good. So with music, I don't really think of music that way. I guess some people might with the music business. The music business is something else besides music. Like you might have, if I'd have just done this, then maybe I'd have been on that label. Or if I'd maybe done this, I'd have made more money. If I'd have done this, I could have been in that band. But in terms of music, with me, I've just every time I've played, I've enjoyed it. Some of my favorite gigs are gigs where nobody showed up and the band sounded good and we were able to play for those few people as opposed to generally for hundreds or thousands. I mean, every time I play, every time I get a chance to play, it's enjoyable because um I recognize that it's a privilege. So music is a bit different than competition. In fact, it's one of the reasons I generally don't like music competition shows because music is not really there to make somebody else lose. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's not really what music is for. And when we start doing music competitively, oftentimes it doesn't make us a better musician trying to outsing somebody.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because really you're there to show the audience, to share what a great song this is, not to do more than that person. Like I won't say who this singer was, but she was singing the national anthem and she was doing so much with the national anthem, she forgot the words, right? It took her off of her purpose for singing. But um there are there are super memorable parts of playing music. Like I remember we went and saw James Brown. Like me and my brothers loved James Brown. And we went and saw him at the Hampton Coliseum in Virginia. And when it was over, the door rolls up and in comes a limousine and James Brown gets in. It's a simple thing, but it sticks in my head. Here's my idol icon, and he looks at the audience and said, "Y'all stay funky now." Right? Sticks in my head. I got a chance to shake Sly Stone's hand. That sticks in my head. I got a chance. One thing that sticks in my head. The Steve Miller Band was playing at the Fillmore Auditorium in San Francisco. There was a terrible storm and the power went out. And Steve Miller, well, I mean, normally power goes out, the show is shut down. Steve Miller got an acoustic guitar, and there was a guy in the band named Norton Buffalo at the time who sang and played harmonica. And somebody went and got a bullhorn. So Steve Miller and Norton Buffalo, with no electricity, entertained the audience with an acoustic guitar, a harmonica, singing harmony into a bullhorn. And that was just like a really cool display of real talent because I've seen electricity go down on shows and the show's just over, right? There's nothing you can do. So I've got a bunch of special memories like that, but none that are wrapped around competition.
That's cool. That's really cool stuff. Joseph, we got some headlines in the sport that we're going to get to, and then we'll get to some mailbag questions
Okay,
that people have for you coming
you
up
got
in
it?
just a moment. But Dominic, let's roll through these headlines here as Connor Zilic has a new crew chief in the Cup Series in 2026.
So much we can start with, from the battle on the court to the battle at Kansas, but we start with the crew chief battle for 2026. The end of the 2025 season, Randall Burnett, current crew chief for Kyle Busch, who has served in his capacity at Richard Childress Racing with him and Tyler Reddick, will depart the team to work with Connor Zilic in 2026. And Zilic now, as the only confirmed Rookie of the Year candidate in the NASCAR Cup Series, brings with him a crew chief who is known to win in the Cup Series, albeit Randall Burnett has not won atop the pit box since 2023 in June of that year with Kyle Busch. So the move of Burnett, Zilic, will see how the paired marriage of these two works in his inaugural season there, driving with Trackhouse Racing in their number. I haven't released the number yet, I don't believe, Tyler, but nonetheless, going to be an interesting pairing between Randall Burnett and Connor Zilic.
Matt, I got mixed thoughts on this because Zilic has a good thing going with his Xfinity crew chief right now. I don't know why you wouldn't just want to bring those two up together. And then I look at Randall Burdett and I see somebody that was ascending. He was one of the hottest crew chiefs in the sport just a few years ago with how well he was with Tyler Reddick and with Kyle Busch his first year at RCR. But that team has underperformed under his leadership, him atop the pit box, calling the shots of that team the last two seasons. Um, you know, I I think that they would have been better just going with what Zilic has. What say you?
For sure. Well, I think you're spot on with that, but at the same time, maybe they just see something in him that a few years ago, and it's hard to overcome equipment. And when you don't got the equipment or the tools to be able to do things, it's kind
But
of
isn't
hard
he,
to
as the
make it
crew
happen.
chief, the one overseeing part of the equipment here?
Potentially, it's potentially part of it, but at the same time, I feel like the crew chief is kind of more so overseeing the people and making sure the right people are in the right places, and maybe that's a good argument that he could be in that position. So, yeah, it is interesting that he's definitely the one of all the different options out there to be pulled up with such a high raising star.
Yeah, Dominic, what's kind of your thoughts on this move?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I thought Marty Lindley might have been a good call here, but I get he's with JRM Motorsports, and they're going to continue to, I'm sure, utilize Marty in his role with the Xfinity team. It would have made sense to pull him up, but Burnett, really good crew chief. He's a proven winner. It's just been a weird slump the last few years working with a two-time champion, and we knew the writing was on the wall. With no victory in the last two calendar years for Kyle Busch, of all drivers, two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, 63 wins. Kyle Busch looks like a shell of his former self right now, and for better or for worse, Tyler, the crew chief's going to take a brunt of that criticism.
Joseph, you're a big sports fan, and these crew chiefs they get compared to head coaches in football and these other sports. And a guy like Randall, he's won in the past but hasn't won recently. We see this all the time in other sports where sometimes you're a good coach, but you just need to change the scenery.
Well, we're in Tennessee, we're on the flip side of that, right? Our football team is not winning. And and all the even though it's the players that make the mistakes, all the eyes are on the head coach. And that's just the way it is sometimes. Sometimes it's unwarranted when you're losing. I mean, sometimes it's unwarranted. No, I'm gonna say it's unwarranted, but you get the credit or the blame, even though you're not the one that's doing it. you're still responsible. So I don't know, man. The head position is a tough place to be.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to be.
I mean, you mentioned Tennessee there. I thought the Titans did your guy Mike Vrabel dirty a couple years ago. I'm glad to see him land on his feet with the
Yeah,
Patriots.
well, me too, but that's the way it goes when your team is losing. When your team is losing or when you're losing, you're not always rational,
Yeah,
right? So it wasn't like Mike Vrabel wasn't succeeding uh at all. It wasn't like the team wasn't improving. It just was they weren't winning sufficiently. I mean, think about the Philadelphia Eagles when they got rid of
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, right? They had just come from the Super Bowl. They just hadn't won one.
Right.
They weren't satisfied. We didn't win the Super Bowl, so they got rid of the coach that brings them to the Super Bowl. When you're not winning, you're not always rational.
Yeah. Well,
And
and Matt, one more point I would bring up before we move on to the next topic here. When it comes to Randall, with all things considered, let's just be honest here. It hasn't been good. That eight team has highly underperformed the last two seasons with one of the greatest drivers of all time in Kyle Busch. If you're Randall here, and all things considered, he could have been the fall guy and made the look really bad throughout all this. And now he ends up at Trackhouse. And we know what Trackhouse has an emerging star in Connor Zilic and all the resources that they have. This could not be a more better, perfect landing spot for Randall, all things considered, to end up there. And maybe they get Rodney Childress to join him over there as well.
No, that's actually a great point. And that's exactly who I would think to be the person. I thought it would be a great story if it was Rodney Childers and Kyle Busch to win the Daytona 500 for both of them in their story. So I think that would be a pretty cool deal for both of them. But another thing I thought of with Randall just now is that he was with Tyler Reddick before, correct?
Yeah.
Before Kyle Busch jumped into the eight car. I seem to remember them having some good success, especially on road courses with Tyler Reddick.
Yes.
So maybe that's a thought process too with Zilish. Obviously, road courses are kind of his bread and butter too. So maybe some good camaraderie there that's going to end up working out.
Maybe so. What else we got, Don?
Well, the battle of the NAS court, I guess, closed case with one of the cases. Two NASCAR teams have settled their charter lawsuit, with Rick Ware Racing and Legacy Motor Club coming to undisclosed terms as to what will happen, but as far as the financials at least are concerned. But Tyler, we know that Legacy Motorsports, or Legacy Motor Club rather, has secured their heavily sought after third charter for the 2026 season. Again, the financials were not disclosed, but in a press release earlier this week to the media, Rick Ware Racing had announced that he had, quote, met with both Jimmy Johnson, owner of the team, and Cal Wells recently, and have come to an agreement to sell and transfer a charter from RWR to Legacy Motor Club, and had gone on to say that it was a mutually beneficial type of deal. They look forward to finishing out the 2025 season and putting this behind them. And I want to say I'd seen another report too, Tyler, that Rick Ware Racing is still planning on entering a car 2026. Their other charter, their second charter, is currently released out to Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing and Ryan Preece in the 60 car. So a lot of scenes being swapped behind the scenes, but it sounds like at least we have one chapter of the NASCAR saga and drama over and done with.
Matt, with that situation there, two things to keep in mind. With Rick Ware Racing, selling this off to Legacy, you got three charters now. We know they got private equity money. They have to find ways to take that next step and compete. Like the money's there, the charters are there. What are we waiting for now? I would say that's the big thing. And then also Rick Ware Racing.
We've lost them.
Oh, we've lost them. Okay, well, we will continue rolling on there. But yeah, Matt, the closing of this chapter with Legacy Motor Club and Rick Ware Racing, I think a lot of these court cases, a lot of these lawsuits have ended up being something that have been kind of a distraction to the on-track product that we have seen. So I would say, at least from an outsider looking in, to settle this up and button it up, case closed, is a good thing for all parties involved and the sport altogether.
Oh yeah, no question. When you got something like this going on, it's going to be a distraction, no matter what capacity that it's happening in. So good for both sides to be able to get it cleared up. And I think on the legacy side, I think having a third charter is going to be a big deal in terms of having data. And more than likely, I'd imagine the manufacturer supports, I would
Yes.
think, would be increased with having a third charter and a third car. But time will tell. Obviously, they've picked it up a little bit again here at the beginning of the playoffs this year, and if they can keep that up, a third car is only going to add to that success next year, I think.
And I would add too, Joseph, that you see whether somebody's a diehard motorsports fan or a casual race fan, a lot of these motorsports headlines that we've seen in the mainstream news this year have unfortunately been surrounding a lot of this lawsuit stuff. So, yeah, just curious as to maybe some of the headlines that you've seen across this calendar year when you have heard of NASCAR in the headlines. Have you been hearing about some of these lawsuit stuff and these battles going on in the court and not the racetrack?
I've only heard that they've been happening. I don't follow the sport close enough to know who they're happening to, but you hear that there's the turmoil, and it's similar to in music, like we just did the Steve Miller Band just did the stadium tour with Journey, Def Leppard, Steve Miller Band. And even though Journey was killing it, the thing that people know most is about their internal turmoil. You know, you hear about the internal turmoil, and the fan just always wants to see it resolved for the sake of the music. You always want people to work those things out for the sake of the music, the same way for you guys for the sake of the sport. Uh, Creedence Clearwater Revival, they could barely stand on the stage long enough to get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And people would love to just see them play the music that they love. I mean, you understand it. Sometimes the people you get along with the least are the people you know the best. But uh, but yeah, in a similar fashion, you just for the sake of the sport or for the sake of the music, you want to see it worked out. It would feel better to know that people could rise above their differences for the sake of the sport or for the sake of the music that supports all of us.
100%. It distracts from the product and what people are, I think, there to whether it be listen to
Absolutely.
music or to go see the sport itself. These things are definitely some hiccups and speed bumps along the way.
I do a daily social media message on TikTok and Instagram. And the one that I did last night was about being quote unquote right. We have a larger responsibility to life than just to go around and be right all the time.
Mhm.
Because I was using a music analogy. If I hand you the music, those are the right notes to the song, but there's a lot of wrong ways to play the right notes. Too fast, too slow, too loud, uh, the wrong tone. In the same way, when we have disagreements, most of the time people are right from where they sit, but being right is the start of it, not the end of it. Once you have correct information, then you got to go do the right thing to try to make things better, not just to be right at the expense of everybody else. And that's the most difficult thing is to sort of be outside of what you see as correct and do what's best for everybody, for the sport or for the music.
Mhm. And as one of those chapters closes, it'll be a fascinating follow to see what happens over the next couple months with the 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports lawsuit versus NASCAR. Of course, Michael Jordan's team and Denny Hamlin. It's gotten very ugly very quickly from both sides. So that'll be perhaps the biggest distraction. We'll see if that gets worked out over the next several months. As we look on
Competition
toward,
can competition can bring out the best in you or the worst in you.
it can.
That's for sure.
It absolutely can. And as we get to our next news and notes and headlines, we look to NASCAR Kansas Speedway this weekend, the second race of the round of 12 in the NASCAR Cup Series. You have the NASCAR Cup Series in action for the Hollywood Casino, presented by ESPN Bet on Sunday, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday. You also have the ARCA Menards Series racing on Friday, including Matt Kemp, who will be in the show. More on that here in a few minutes. But when you look at the race and the entries for the Cup Series race this Sunday, Tyler, there's 37 entries. So you have one part-time entry with J.J. Ailey fielding the New York Racing Team 44 car. But Kyle Larson, who won this race last year, that historic race, Tyler, that you covered, the odds-on favorite at plus 325, or about 3.25 to 1. William Byron and Denny Hamlin next at 6 to 1, plus 600. Ryan Blaney at plus 650. Christopher Bell at plus 800. Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott each at plus 1,000. Tyler Reddick at plus 1,400. Ross Chastain at plus 1,600. Joey Logano plus 2,000. Bubba Wallace plus 2,200. As you look through the rest of the field, Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, some of the first names that are not in the playoffs that the Caesar Sportsbook has as your odds-on favorite, tied with Brad Keselowski at plus 2,500. Your longest shot to win the race, Cody Ware, JJ Haley at plus 250,000 or 2,500 to 1.
So I feel like, guys, that we talked about JGR, how well they started the playoff. And then we see Penske with a win last week and know what they've done in the past when it comes to these playoff races, especially towards the end here. Matt, I think this is a big weekend for Hendrick Motorsports. This is one of their best tracks. Dominic mentioned Kyle Larson, has won here a lot. I think this is a pivotal week. I think Kyle Larson gets it done. But I think that if you're Hendrick Motorsports, whether it's Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott, who's won here in the playoffs in the past, or if it's William Byron for that matter, I think it's crucial. If any of those three teams are going to win the championship, one of them needs to win this weekend, man.
Oh, absolutely. Especially, on the road course side of things, they haven't been, I wouldn't say completely stellar. But I would say definitely this has been one of their best places. So if they're off here, there's going to be some major red flags going forward. And if they can't get it done here, it's going to be hard for them to move on for sure.
Yeah, who do you got this weekend, Matt?
Oh man, I gotta go with 23-11. I think they're gonna get it done.
You didn't pick a driver, Matt. Come on now.
I was really hoping you'd let me get away with it so I could at least have two
No,
in
you're
there.
not allowed to get away with anything in this show. You've been here how long now? A month, and you're trying to get away with stuff? No,
I'm
no, no.
trying. I'm trying. We're gonna keep trying, but that's all right. We'll go with Tyler Reddick then.
All right, Dom, I'm not going to let you get away with anything. Who are you picking?
Okay, well, we've got to pick one driver. Former Kansas winner Denny Hamlin gets it done on Sunday. 60th win, ties Kevin Harvick on the wins list.
Okay. Joseph, you want to make a pick, or would you like us to give you some suggestions here? Who do you think comes out on top Sunday?
Well, listen, I'm the I'm the I'm the non-racer guy, so I'll go with the guy who races. And he said Kyle Reddick. I'll go with him.
Tyler Reddick. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're going to listen to Matt. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, Matt, that's why you make a pick, because then he can follow suit here. You
Right.
helped him out a bit.
Yes,
So that's
sir. Help me out.
I
there we
think
go.
I think great minds think alike is what's going on right
Yes.
There we go. There we go. I like it. Great to see. Let's go ahead and get to our
Well, hold on,
mailbag.
you can't make us pick and you not pick. Who you picking, Tyler?
Were you
Matt,
not? Do you not listen? Do you not listen to me? I literally picked Kyle Larson at the top of the segment.
Oh, I guess I missed that.
Yeah, you're not listening. You struggled reading earlier. Like, what are we gonna do about
Yeah.
this?
Hey, well, I guess I tuned you out a little bit, like that guitar's a little out of tune.
Yeah. Dominic, he's a teacher, and you got to wonder, with the way he struggles to listen and read sometimes, how good is he educating the youths of America?
I will say New Mexico's 50th in education, but that's a separate story.
Yeah, you're helping out with that cause, I can tell. All right, let's get to our mailbag segment. We ask you guys to submit questions to us each and every week, and whether it's on social media or by email, whatever it may be, send us your questions. And we get plenty of questions this week, and we'll choose a couple of them for Joseph here. First question, Joseph, is from Brandon. Brandon wants to know, how old were you when you started playing the keys, and how old were you when you fell in love with playing music?
Oh my goodness. I have musician brothers. I'm the second to the youngest of five musician brothers. My older three brothers, 3, 4, 5 years older than me. And then my younger brother, Victor, is 3 years younger than me. My oldest brother, when he was 10, taught me to play when I was 5, taught Victor to play when he was 2. So we started playing really young, and I loved it from the time that I started. So I started playing when I was 5, was playing nightclubs when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
Just we started really young. Remember the group War? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? We opened for War in 1970.
Wow.
5 years old. My little brother Victor was, no, I take that back. I was 8, he was 5. Um,
That's awesome.
so I've been loving music, loving playing music since I was 5 years old. That's the long answer to that question.
That's awesome. Dominic, he's a musician. You play a couple different instruments, right, Dom?
Yeah, Forte's drums can I can play the guitar very sloppy, play the bass a little step up above that, but no, I've definitely had the pleasure to play the drums with a few bands over the years, and what a privilege it is to take the stage to go play at a gig, whether it be at a casino or at a festival, and just having that honor and privilege to playing with I feel like the musicians I've had the opportunity to play with over the years. And I don't think it's no knock on me. I just feel like I'm sometimes the weakest link or the least experienced, and it just pushes you to be better. So
Hmm.
really always an honor and privilege to play with musicians that you know are just miles and miles ahead of you. And yeah, what truly an honor it is to be able to do that. Hit the recording studio. And man, I can tell you, Tyler, anytime you hit that recording studio, it's a very humbling experience because you can hear back every mistake. The studio
Oh,
does not lie. Man, some of those originals that we had recorded over the years took me way more takes than the other musicians in that room with me. So
yeah, yeah. The studio is a very humbling experience.
yes.
It's a very humbling experience. It takes everything you're insecure about and magnifies it.
Now, Dominic and I, we've jammed out, together before, and Dominic and I would say we're both, just okay musicians. We're not anything special by any stretch of the imagination, but Dominic's probably a better musician than I am. I'm a drummer. I play some keys, guitar, sing a bit, whatever. But Joseph, my one claim to fame that I'll give myself credit for, you'll appreciate this as a keyboard player yourself. When I was in, I want to say like fifth or sixth grade, I took piano lessons for about 5 weeks, once a week, an hour for 5 weeks.
Mhm.
And at the end of it, my mom said, "All right, we're going to throw you on stage at church, and you're going to help lead worship playing keys."
Oh,
And so after 5 weeks and learning, the basic chords that I could, my A through G and the minors, just getting what I could get away with, to get through 4 or 5 worship songs, then we were good to go.
wow. Wow, she threw you in the deep water.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
You were leading the worship, huh?
oh yeah, yeah.
Sometimes that's the
Yeah.
best teachers having experiences like that, baptism by fire, as they say.
Oh, absolutely.
Literal
Absolutely.
baptism in this case.
And nothing beats experience as a teacher.
Yeah,
Not about it.
yeah. Matt, you play the instruments?
Oh, that's a great question. I had a grandparent get me a guitar when I was really young. I was probably like 8 years old or so, and I was playing with it it was an electric guitar, so I had like a little speaker and all that.
Mhm.
Um, had it plugged in and was playing with it for about 20 minutes. I got it to make a really cool noise, and I had no idea how I did it. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta figure this out. I probably played with it for another like 2 or 3 hours. I couldn't figure it out, and I'm like, all right, it's not for me. And that's the last time I think I tried to play anything, to be honest with you. So,
Was that
um,
loud, unique sound of pop? Like, did you do something to the amp, unfortunately?
no, it was a sweet, like it sounded like, I don't know, it sounded like I was shredding it. And I'm like, oh man, I'm doing something right. I thought I was really good for a second, and then I realized quickly I was not. I had no idea what I was doing.
Never too late to pick it back up.
Yeah, I'm glad that I found a steering wheel and a gas pedal because I was if music was my calling, I was not it was not my calling. We'll go with that.
Joseph, one thing that I love about music is there's something for everybody when it comes to your levels of expertise. Like you can get somebody just okay, learn a couple chords and we can find a spot for you, or we can get creative and have you playing melodies, or
Hey,
whether it's the guitar, of playing lead, or just getting your chords in, or playing bass. Maybe it's as a drummer here. I mean that no matter your level of expertise, you can fit somewhere within a band or a song of some sort. You can find a spot.
no, that's absolutely right. That's the good thing about music. And if it's superior to competition, if it is, the reason is because nobody has to lose to participate, right? To play music, just to make it happen, you have to do this. Even to listen to it, you're coming to the creation of somebody else. Nothing happens in music at somebody else's expense. In the music business, it does, but in music itself, it doesn't. Music takes all of those different notes, which will never be alike, and gives them a path forward that everybody enjoys. And even if you don't enjoy it, it's not anybody's expense, at anybody's expense. It's just that wasn't my song. Nobody gets hurt with music. And if we lived our lives and handled our differences in life the way that we do it in music, we'd be okay. Because in music, G and G sharp don't argue with each other. You just find a way to make them both useful with them being able to stay who they are. Right? Music, we enjoy it because we hear it's the sound of intelligence taking this mess and turning it into something beautiful. Competition, you succeed at somebody else's expense. And that's entertaining. And there's things to learn from it if you learn a lesson that goes beyond the competition. Like if you play a sport, if all you learn to do is beat somebody else, you know what I mean? You never really get anywhere because as soon as that competition is over, you got to go do it all over again. But if in getting good at competing, you learn discipline, work ethic, respecting your opponent, being on time, the value of hard work. If you learn those, competition is beneficial. But music is bringing people together, and that's the whole reason we're on the planet.
You know, Joseph, I would add another point to that is, you know, whether it's based on somebody's vocal range or maybe lack of what they know when it comes to, their guitar chords or something, you can always get the capo out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Music is inclusive, man. It's inclusive. It is. And like my wife always jokes about how she can't sing. And I remind her that singing is not only for the experts.
Yeah.
Singing is for everybody. Singing is for everybody. Music is for
Even Matt.
everybody. What's that?
Even Matt.
Even man.
I don't know about that one. I think yeah, I think we're better off without that one.
Well, not everybody wants to sing in front of other people, right? But there's always enjoyment you can get from singing. I mean, even if something hurts, what's the first thing you do? You hum, right? Singing is for everybody. Singing is for everybody.
Another question coming in
Right.
from our friend of the show, Chris Lafferty, who not only is a former NASCAR driver, but also a country music artist himself.
Mhm.
He's got a couple things for you, Joseph. First one
Okay.
is touring can be like Groundhog Day, every day the same. Hurry up and wait. What do you do to break the uh, monotony and distractions of touring to make it more enjoyable? And what advice would you give a young musician who's starting to really tour for the first time?
Okay. Well, the first part of it is I enjoy one of the main things I like about music is the touring. I love meeting new people, being in different places uh, every day. I mean, I still in the bedroom got a suitcase that's still not fully unpacked. So touring is not a chore um, for me. Now, granted, it was the Steve Miller tour, so somebody else is setting up gear, tour bus. That's a different kind of tour, right? That to me, that's really easy. Somebody else is driving, somebody else is setting up the gear. What do I have to complain about, right? But advice for a younger musician that's touring for the first time, The advice that every musician at every level needs to remember is that when you play music for a living, let's say your show's an hour long. If all you're practicing for is that hour, you forget that the thing that keeps you working, especially when you're on tour and you're around the other people a lot, are the other 23 hours in the day. If you're on a tour bus, you need to make sure that you're easy to, that you, what we call you're a good hang, right? Because if you're a drag to be around, it makes a tour bus small, right? Nobody wants to be around somebody that's a drag. I call it do the things that don't require talent, do them well, be on time, look the part, be easy to work with, watch who you become when you think that you're right and the leader is wrong. Like, watch how you carry yourself because that gets a lot of people when you think you're right and you think they're wrong, how you handle yourself. Um, all of those things. When you are on a when you're on a tour, if you've got the gig, you're good enough for it. But the thing that will enable you to keep the gig is who you are, right? If the leader gets along with you, if the other bandmates get along with you, if you're on time, if you know the music, if you're prepared, all of that stuff is the thing that will enable you to keep the gig. So my advice is always be good at what you do, but don't just work on the hour that you're going to be on stage. Pay a lot of attention to the other 23 hours in the day, and that'll help you to keep the gig.
I like that.
Great advice.
Another one from our friend Chris. He also wants to know: have you ever secretly did a number two on the bus? Because the number one bus rule is no pooping on the bus, right?
No, no, and it would be silly to because we're all sharing that same bus. And on the hot days, on the hot days when the sun starts to heat up the receptacle tank, it would not be smart for there to be number two in there. We're all breathing that same air. So no, I've
Uh,
never done that.
Matt, you've been on plenty of these NASCAR motorhomes and haulers. Are you guilty of this?
No, no, I'm not guilty. I've been a good driver in that regard.
Now, I know Dominic's been in some motorhomes, but according to sources, I can't confirm or deny his behavior.
Oh man, there's so many ways you can go with this. I wasn't in a motorhome, but I'll tell you what, Tyler. I won't name the driver, but I may or may not have clogged the toilet one time, and I had to use a quick Google search on how to unclog a mess without a plunger. I'll leave it at that. And we got it done. We got it done. But I won't name the driver. I won't name what city location it happened. But hey,
That's
things
good.
happen sometimes you just can't plan for, man.
Yeah,
Tyler, I'm
yeah.
sure you have a story like that.
Yeah, I've
Press box somewhere, maybe the Fox Sports press box. Is that my guess?
I let's put it this way. There was an incident at the Super Bowl of all places.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, yeah, not ideal. We'll put it that way. I was trying to get back to the Airbnb as quickly as possible. Uh, to change my pants. Yeah, yeah, that wasn't great.
Happens to the
Uh,
best of us. It's all right.
and it's yeah, just some of us haven't said the biggest game of the year. Yeah. Um,
In more ways than one.
yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Before we go, guys, let's kind of go around the room. What everybody's got going on. Joseph, what's the next week or so look like for you? Where can uh, people see you and hear from you and all the stuff you're doing, man?
Okay, tomorrow I'm back at tomorrow. Uh, I'm going to be back in the studio at noon. I'm going to be uh, on a there's a local news station I'm going to be on because there was a musician that recorded one of my songs with some kids. So they're going to talk about it tomorrow on a local Nashville station. I'll be there. I'll be in the studio at noon. The following day, I fly to New York City. There's a Global Citizens concert, and there's a contest that they had for people, $1 per vote to try to be the opening act for this Global Citizens concert. That's headlined by The Weeknd and
Mm,
Shakira.
mm,
So
Awesome.
I'm sort of the kind of the mentor, celebrity mentor for the contest. What they did was they took their frequently asked questions, took me in the studio, and had me answer them so that when the contestants have these questions, I'm there answering those questions. So I'll meet the winner, whose name I can't recall right now. I'll meet the winner uh, this weekend. I fly to New York the day after tomorrow. So I'll meet them. I come back. I'll get ready for I'll finish recording this Christmas record. I have my benefit for homeless veterans. I'll send you guys that link when we're off of here. And if you want to donate, it's imatteryoumatter.com/donate. And
very good.
then my brothers and I will go to Europe in October, into early November, and getting ready for the military world games. They're still raising money for that and getting ready to go. It's a busy time. It's good.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be sitting around after this Steve Miller thing, and that's not the case.
And Matt and Dominic, you guys are hanging out this weekend, right?
Yeah, man. It'll be really cool to see you on the racetrack this weekend.
Yeah, man, we're gonna go out to head out to Kansas and get us a little experience on the ARC side of things, and hopefully we find some time to go out have a little fun down there.
I think we will. We will, Tyler. I'm taking the family. We're gonna have a nice little family outing of it and go cover the race on Sunday. And Christopher's gonna get to go to his second NASCAR race, and I hope he
Oh
gets
my
to
goodness.
remember this one a little bit more. First time he went was Texas Motor Speedway, and it was up there in the name slipping me, the Texas Motor Speedway condo. So he got kind of pampered on his first experience, but he'll get his actual first grandstand experience this weekend at Kansas Speedway. So it's gonna hopefully build some core memories. And I'm looking forward to being back at the racetrack for the first time since Michigan in June. Tyler, how about you?
I'll be honest. I don't know what I'm doing over the next couple days. I am going to see Joseph. You'll appreciate this.
Okay.
I'm about tomorrow night. I'm going to a Blink 182 concert.
Blink 182. Okay.
I feel like Joseph Blink 182 is one of those bands that everybody just enjoys. Like it doesn't matter what walk of life, how young, how old you are. Everybody can enjoy some Blink 182.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Yeah. So
It
that's what
sounds
I'll be up to. But I don't know what I'm doing the next couple of days after that. But it'll be real good. Now, Matt, give us the TV times and all that stuff where people can catch you racing this weekend and see all the action with your favorite announcer Jamie Little on the call.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So Friday night race at Old Kansas. It looks like 7 o'clock. I believe that's Central Time. So 8 o'clock Eastern. The race will be starting out there, and yeah, we'll have some fun.
Looking forward
Fox
to it.
Sports, Fox Sports 2, I think. Fox Sports 1. I'm not 100% sure. I usually know this stuff, man. I just don't this week.
See, Dom, that's where we come in with the term check your local listings.
Check your local listing. Yeah, there you go. Good broadcast term there. Yes.
Yes,
There you go.
yes. There you go. Check your local listings on that. Joseph, thanks for joining us, man. Always a pleasure when we get to have you on the show, and congrats on your great success, and looking forward to getting out and seeing you perform here again soon, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys having me back on. It's always fun.
Yeah, is the keyboard around by chance?
The keyboard is not around. The keyboard is not around this time.
Oh, that's too bad. We had you perform for us last time.
Oh man, well yeah, last time I was a bit more prepared. This time I just came out of the studio, so my gear is not it's not around. But
Well,
the next time we get together, I'll make a point of having the keyboard close.
okay, we'll make that happen the next time you join us. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We'll get a live performance. That does it for us. We'll put the checkered flag out on this edition of Let's Go Racing. Subscribe to the show. New episodes out each and every week. Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review or don't leave us one at all. Hit us up on social media on X and Facebook and also by email. And check out the Studio Soapbox Network. This show, the Jones Sport, Coach Moto's podcast, and all podcast platforms. For Joseph Wooten, Dominic Aragon, and Matt Kemp, I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks so long. This has been another edition of Let's Go Racing. We'll see you next week.